I'm Austin, better known here as Basement Horrors. Today, I'm going to tell you about something that's happened to me ever since I was really little. So, at the time, I really didn't know what this was, and I really thought that I was crazy or something because anytime I tried to explain this thing to someone, they wouldn't know what I was talking about. Basically what it was is sometimes, especially when I look into a mirror, I feel like I don't know who I am. And it's more than just not knowing who I am. It's almost like I'm a character in a video game, if that makes any sense at all. So anyway, I thought I was crazy, and I thought no one else has ever experienced this because no one ever, said that they had. To me, anyway. And then about a month and a half ago, me and my girlfriend are talking, and I had just had an episode of this, and then we FaceTimed, and I told her about it, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious?" Like, yeah, why? I said, that always happens to me ever since I was young. Me too. I thought I was the only one, and she said that she thought she was the only one too. So she is kind of better at explaining things usually, so she explains it to my mom, and then my mom's like, "Oh, that's what you've been talking about." Yeah, that happens to me all the time when I'm on my way home from night shift, because she works at a hospital as a nurse, and she works night shift. So she's extremely tired when she comes home. And so for her, it's, sleep deprivation, I guess, but it triggers this, what I've found to be called dissociation. And what dissociation is basically a detachment from reality. Now, it's not a total loss of reality, because that's known as psychosis. It's more of a temporary separation. It usually lasts anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes, and it's usually caused by stress. It's a coping mechanism to help you, minimize or just handle the stress. There's a few disorders like depersonalization disorder that has these symptoms of dissociation. And it's kind of a weird feeling if you've never had this, or maybe you have and I'm just explaining it horribly. I looked up a few examples of people trying to explain how it made them feel, and I'm going to try to explain it to you by reading them off. Okay guys, so I found a post on Reddit about dissociation, and it says, "I get dissociation in big and heavy lumps. It'll show up and be full-blown with a few hours, and then might not leave for anywhere between a few days to a few months. My longest solid period of dissociation was 2 months. Time goes by quickly, everything feels weird. I'm either very focused, or have to try very hard to get myself to pay attention. Things are boring. I feel vulnerable both mentally and physically, and I have an overwhelming sense of fragility, like I might break. My speech patterns go funny. I seem to understand words differently when I'm dissociated. Fields are the worst, especially if it's sunny. I have blackouts in this situation." So I've never heard of someone dissociating for longer than like a few hours. But days and months, that's insane. I couldn't imagine dissociating for 2 months. That's crazy. But I do relate with the things being weird and different and not making much sense, and either being very focused or not being able to pay attention at all. I've experienced both of those while dissociating, and it's very strange. It's just a very strange phenomenon. But yeah, that was weird. This one says, "I'm in such a dissociative state when I touch my face in particular, it just feels wrong. I feel like I'm in a dream, and it freaks me out that I have sensation. It's so weird and uncomfortable. My head hurts, I keep spacing out, which is great when I'm working. I saw the dates of messages people have sent me that I thought were a week or even days ago, and they're a month old. Anyone else relate? Also, I'm not sure why I'm in this state. I didn't have the best childhood. My mom used to be super verbally abusive too, and I've been thinking about her words a lot lately." That one I kind of get to, feeling like I'm in a dream. Not really any of the rest, so what I'm kind of noticing so far is almost all of these are different, but I kind of relate bits and pieces from each of them. Okay, and this one says, a couple of years ago, I was in a car accident that left me with mild brain injury. Ever since then, I've been debating whether my symptoms were from the injury or if I'm dissociated constantly. During that time of the incident was a time of high stress and anxiety that has continued since. I am constantly spaced out, everything seems distant, I can't focus nor remember much. Every time I look at myself in the mirror or see a picture of myself, it doesn't seem like the real me, only a shell. I try things to ground myself like meditation, but my mind doesn't want to focus on anything outside of myself, i.e. sounds, touching, smells. It quickly reverts back inside to continue its ruminations. I have no sense of time. Life just seems incredibly dull, just wondering if it's possible to be constantly dissociated. That one would make sense if they had a mild brain injury that might be affecting certain nerves or something in their brain, making them feel dissociated most of the time, I guess. I don't know, that's something to look into, I guess. Okay, so this is the last one I'm going to read, and it's the longest one. I'm not sure if this is the right place to post this, but I'm desperately in need because I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. For the past 2 or 3 months, I've been really out of it. It started out as like a 2-day thing where I really just didn't feel here in reality. I thought maybe it was because I smoked weed for the first time in 8 months, and it was just making me freak out. It went away for about 2 weeks and then came back. The last 2 to 3 weeks have been the most unbearable days of my life. My days seem to go on too fast or too slow. I feel like I come and go from my body and I'm not myself. I don't feel like I'm living in my body. I have trouble remembering most things and I scare myself. I will have the most intense panic attacks that last for hours. I used to be able to control it by grounding, but that only worked for the first few times. It's gotten to the point where I can't recognize myself in the mirror. I feel like I'm in a movie and living someone else's life. I feel like I don't know the people I've been around all my life, like my mom, my sister, my boyfriend. I feel uncomfortable around everyone. I don't see the point in me doing anything or getting anything done if I feel this way. It feels like I shouldn't be alive. I don't know why I'm alive or why I'm here. I feel like hurting myself or killing myself because what's the point of being here if I feel like this? I am not who I am. I've looked it up and it's called dissociation. And it can be a disorder. It can stem from childhood trauma and PTSD. I've only recently gone to a crisis center because of how I'm feeling and can't see a psychiatrist until December 22nd. It makes sense from a trauma because I found my dad dead when I was 13 and it's been with me since. I'm afraid that if I don't get this figured out and back to myself, that I might end up hurting myself. I don't even know what's wrong with me, and I'm so scared because I don't know how to fix it. This one I think is the most real one. Like, I don't mean like real, like genuine. I mean like the most hard one, like to deal with. Even though the one dude had it for like 2 months because they're talking about wanting to hurt themselves and not wanting to be alive, like not feeling the need to. And that's like what I felt before, but I don't think it was dissociation for me. I think for me it was just the depression, not really caring if I lived or not. But I definitely relate to this, and it almost sounds like astral projection on part of it when he's talking about feeling like he's left his body and then comes back to it. That almost sounds like astral projection, but we'll get into the theories about this in a few seconds. Okay guys, so I haven't really went on the internet and looked into any theories on this, but I have a few that don't really make sense, but at the same time they kind of do. So in the last one, he talked about feeling like he was leaving his body and coming back into it. And I wouldn't say that's exactly how I would describe it for myself. But then again, it seems like everyone has their own unique experience with it. But with having to leave your body and coming back, that sounds like astral projection. And honestly, when I think about it, it is kind of like that. Because it's like really don't know how to explain it. It's almost as if you're playing a video game and you just switch to a new character. And I'm not saying that we're living in a video game, I'm not saying that. It all goes back to that one simulation theory, which I'm not saying that I believe in 100%, I'm not saying I believe in that at all. But it would make sense if we are in a simulation, if our, like, there's multiple theories about that. One of them is that we are in a video game, and again, I'm not saying we are, I'm just saying this might be this is a theory. But let's say that we are in a video game, and every time our player logs in to play the game, that's when we dissociate, because it's our, like, the player, like, signing into our body. So, to make us do stuff, you know, for the game. And so let's say that's what it is, then that would make sense, the dissociating part. But then again, none of that really makes sense. But still, it's something to kind of think about, I guess. And again, with the astral projection thing, it's like our bodies, you know, moving out and coming back, you know, our souls are moving out of our body and coming back in. It's almost like, because of the extreme trauma or whatever, just stress, our soul decides to take a break from our body to heal itself up. So maybe we just leave for half a second, or we just leave for a few hours or months. And that dissociation is our body trying to figure itself out without the soul, while our soul is trying to heal itself. If that makes any sense, it really doesn't. But, or it could just be our soul goes out and comes back in immediately. It just cleans itself immediately, or our soul just somehow slips out and comes back immediately. But what if that dissociation is our soul trying to recalibrate to our bodies? I guess, I don't know. Okay guys, so this video was just kind of random, and the only reason I made it was because just a few hours ago I dropped my girlfriend off at her house after spending the day with her, and when I was driving home I was dissociating really bad, and I'm pretty sure that's not safe, but it happened anyway, and it just got me in the mood to start thinking about this, and I really wanted to just research and look into it and see other people's experiences and to tell you guys about it. So yeah, if you guys have ever experienced this, let me know, and let me know how severe and like what happened. Also, if you have any other kind of more creepy things that have actually happened to you or a loved one, let me know in the comments or at my email, on my Instagram, and you can add me on Snapchat. I always post updates, as well as on my Instagram and my Twitter. And then you can also check out my photography right here. Thanks for stopping by, and until the next time, have a horrific day.